We'll learn about transformations. There are four basic transformations: translation, reflection, rotation, and dilation. What happens in translation is that we drag the image either left, right, or in any direction. In reflection, we see a flipped image like a mirror. uh, we have a line of symmetry and we flip the image either on x-axis or y-axis or any line. We flip the image around that axis, that is reflection. In rotation the figure can be turned around a point, ठीक है, एक पॉइंट के अराउंड आप उसको रोटेट कर सकते हैं. In dilation we enlarge or reduce the size of the image, just like when you open up a camera and you want to zoom in and zoom out. What is zooming in and zooming out? This is a sort of dilation. So let's first see that if we are in a coordinate plane, in coordinate plane we take a point as x coordinate and y coordinate. If we have a translation that we cover in this chapter is left, right, up and down. So let's say that we want to translate this image 2 units left. So what we are going to do is that we are going to subtract 2 from the x coordinates. Look here, we have all the x coordinates, and since we want to move it to the left side, what we have done is that we subtract 2 from the x coordinate. So what happens is that this image has been moved to 2 unit left. Each point is moved to 2 unit left. Now if we want to do 1 unit up, we are going to add 1 unit in y coordinates. Here 2 becomes 3, 4 becomes 5, and 3 becomes 6, and we have this new image. Similarly, for right we add 2 units in the x coordinate, and for down we subtract 1 from the unit. So in essence we can summarize that for up and down we use we make changes in the y coordinates. How many units we want to move up, we add. If we want to move down, we subtract that units from y-axis. For left and right, we make changes in the x-axis. We either move minus for left and plus for a. If we want to move 1 unit, a will be 1. If we want to move 2 units, a will be 2. If we want to move 5 units, a will be 5. So the how much we want to move, it will be the number that is subtracted. Now coming to the second point, reflection. Reflection is basically a mirror image. Wherever you put your mirror across the image, we get. So here now when we reflect along x-axis, the blue image goes below the x-axis. It becomes 4 minus 1. And if we want to same image to the y-axis, it becomes minus 4 1. So similarly in this we see that if we want to move on x-axis, the sign is changed in the y, and when we want to flip the image in the y-axis, we change the sign in the x-axis, the opposite. For about x-axis, changes in y coordinate. For y-axis, changes in x coordinate. Here is the summary of the general rules for reflection, same that I have already demonstrated that for x-axis we make the sign negative for the y-axis, and for y we make the sign difference for the x-axis. Here is a few examples of if we want to, rather than a point, if we want to reflect a whole image. Same procedure goes for the each point. You start reflecting each point, we change the sign. Since in the first two the 0 is a neutral number, so minus 0 does not make sense, plus 0 does not make sense, minus 0 does not make sense. So 0 will be a neutral number, so we cannot say it is a positive or negative. So in the case of zeros, it stays the same. When we have 4, it becomes minus 4, and 3 becomes minus 3, and then we get a reflected image along the x-axis. What about y-axis? Y-axis, we change all the signs in the first coordinate. Now dilation. Dilation is actually enlargement. By what scale you enlarge, that is represented by k. We multiply that k scalar number to the coordinates. If the number is multiplied and is positive, it will enlarge it, and whenever it is between 0 and 1, that means it is fractional, it will be reducing its sign. For k is equals to 2, if we have a dilation, we double the coordinates and we get a larger picture. What about 1 by 2? As I have told you, whenever the k is in the fractional form, we have a shrinking in the dilation. So what happens is that we half the coordinates and we get the smaller version. Now let's come to the rotation. What is rotation? We are going to cover these three type of rotation: 180 degree, 90 degree clockwise, and 90 degree anti-clockwise. For 180 degree anti-clockwise, we are going to change the sign of both the coordinates. For 90 degree, we are going to clockwise direction, 90 degree clockwise direction. We are going to flip the coordinates. We are going to flip the coordinates. The x coordinate becomes the y coordinate becomes the x coordinate, and we are going to assign minus sign to the second coordinate. Now for anti-clockwise 90 degree, again we are flipping the coordinates, but the negative sign comes to the first coordinate. Okay, let's take an example of 180 degree. Here all the coordinates we have taken a minus sign to the both side and then plot them. We see a 180 degree rotation. For 90 degree we flip, and we second coordinate we put negative sign. Flipping and negative sign. Flipping and second is negative. So this is a clockwise. Clockwise direction is your this type in this direction. This type of direction is clockwise. And what about anti-clockwise? For anti-clockwise, we are going to flip, but the first coordinate is negative. Now this is in an anti-clockwise direction, and we get a flipped image, a rotated image. Again an example of 180 degree. 180 degree we assign negative sign to all the coordinates. For 90 degree we are going to flip and negative sign to the second coordinate. For anti-clockwise, flip and the first coordinate will be negative. So here we have the summary again, so that we can remember. If we remember these summaries, we, if any type of question we are encountered with, any type of diagram, any triangle, any rectangle, any square, any parallelogram, whatever type of the picture, we have the points. If we have the points, we can rotate or flip or dilate them using these rules. We just have to remember these rules and then just plot these rules and transform. So it does not necessarily mean that you have to do all the questions, just you have to memorize these tables, that in what type of rotation what kind of rule will be applied. So this is it, and I hope you have learned this.